All right. Well, welcome everybody to MVP Office Hours. My name is Jared Kingston. I'm a Solution Architect Manager with Aperio in our Salesforce practice and Salesforce MVP. I run the MVP Office Hours with Jackie Travieso and Dale Ziegler, who are also MVPs. Unfortunately, they're unable to join us today, so I'm running solo here. So bear with me. We start off every MVP Office Hours going over the list of upcoming events. And you can see there we've got quite a few dream-ins out there, but also not to be missed in there is September is quickly approaching with Dreamforce. So plenty to do, plenty of events. Definitely check those out if they're close to your area or if you're able to travel there. Certainly recommend those as they're great community events, not only to just network, but to learn from fellow community members. So check those out. The next one is Midwest Dreamin' here. Well, Texas Dreamin's going on today, and then Midwest Dreamin' is coming up quickly. So recommend you check those out. All right, if this is your first time, MVP Office Hours, just a quick rundown here of how we do things. So first and third Friday each month, actually should change this here. The next call will actually be the 29th. So because the first Friday is going to be right after the 4th of July, we decided to go ahead and move that up for people. So it will be the 29th. So you'll look for that. Open Q&A discussion. We'll do our best to answer your questions, and everyone is welcome to share their experiences. Because we'll record this, we'll post it out to the community and Twitter as well. So all we ask is you just mute yourself if you're not talking. That way we can hear the questions and the answers clearly. If you want to ask questions, we'll either poll for questions or you can raise your hand in the chat. Let's see here. Yeah, I think that's it. And the other thing that we've started doing is if there's something we really need to dive into, we'll give you screen sharing controls, and we'll take a look at your org and see if we can figure it out. That's been a really fun thing to do. So, and then lastly, before we get going here, just a reminder, we have a website out there, mvpofficehours.info. We built it on a community, and it allows you to see all the information about all the different office hours groups we have. So the core ones that we have running right now are the US, this one, EMEA, APAC is getting started back up, Portuguese, and then a student's version. And we also have nonprofit in Spanish coming down the line. So definitely check that out. It also allows you to subscribe to our email list, which all we do there is just send you out the registration info for each session. So that way, if you don't want to bookmark it or whatnot, you can get those notifications. And just a note there, with all the GDPR stuff, we have updated some of our sites. So you'll see on there when you go to register that there's just one extra box there, just giving us consent to use your email to email you that. And if at any time you want us to remove your information or you want to unsubscribe, all the instructions are in the email itself on how to do that. So look for more information on that as we make sure we're in compliance and giving you transparency of how where that information gets stored and how we use it. So with that being said, let's kick off the call. And who would like to start us off with questions? I see some familiar names in there. Marty is quick to the punch here. Marty, what you got for us?
Hi, thanks. Just a couple quick opinions. So I'm a consultant. I'm working with a customer who has system administrator access because they're the only one in the company that does. but they're really a user. So I've worked with other systems where you can kind of change your profile based on the work you're doing. But in Salesforce, that's not possible. So any advice for someone like that, where I don't really want to make system administrator profile have different access to, for example, enter a new account, but they look at it differently than a typical salesperson would. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Somebody want to take a shot at that, or I can go? It sounds to me, and Randy put it in the chat, it sounds to me like I would use a permission set there to layer on some of those additional permissions on top of what their base profile already has. So if it is a sales user that, obviously all the sales people have, a smaller amount of permission, and you want to just give that one person additional permission on top of that, then I would use a permission set to do that. That way you're not creating an additional profile.
Yeah, that makes sense. So can I ask one other quick question? Any opinions?
Yeah.
A different customer has the situation where they hold meetings and they want to take attendance. So I've looked at a couple of the, education trials, and I don't see anything. Obviously, I can make a custom object. Any other, and it's a nonprofit, so free is pretty much the only alternative. So any other thoughts on an easy way to, have different meetings and be able to quickly take attendance and then report on it?
Good question. I have a feeling there's something on the App Exchange.
Yeah, I've looked, and a couple of the good ones are paid, and that's the issue. Now, I'll keep looking, but if anyone has experience with one that they think is good, I'd be happy to take any recommendations.
Yeah, I'm just looking here. I mean, the only thing I think of, I was just looking at this one. It looks free.
Yeah, the person, Randy, thank you, a campaign, that's sort of what I thought I was going to do, is tweak the campaign to make and add some fields.
Yeah,
Great idea. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds workable. Yeah, I mean, the other thing is there is a Labs app out there for class enrollment that allows you, that has, an object model there for you to track.
Check it. Great.
Enrollment. Yeah, so that may work. Yeah, it looks like that's one of the main free ones. And it never hurts too on some of those to ask some of the paid ones if they have nonprofit pricing, because some of those will, either have pretty cheap nonprofit pricing, or they may even have something similar to Salesforce where they give away a few licenses. So.
Great. Thank you very much. A good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Stuart.
Randy, thank you. Great idea.
Stuart, you got your hand raised, my man. What's up?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can. Yes, Verizon guy, I can hear you. Or Sprint guy.
Okay, you can barely hear me. I'm in a hole. Hi, I'm Stuart from the Twin Cities, Minnesota, St. Paul, actually. And Randy is not allowed to answer this question because she already knows I have a couple questions, if I may. One is, I don't know if you know about Lightning, I've been migrating to Lightning, and have some gripes about about reporting and reports. And just wondering if you have any advice, or anyone in the room have any advice or any AppExchange helpers. And my gripe is this: when I look for folders, and especially now in summer, they've given us the ability to create subfolders and subfolders of reports. But I just want a nice, easy way to see all my reports and folders in a graphical way. Am I asking too much here, or I just feel a little lost when I go to the reports section and I see on the left-hand side the list of recent, created by me, all folders list, and then just the major list of all the reports in there. I'd love to have ideas of ways to visualize the reports in a graphical way.
So you're wanting to visualize like the number of reports in a folder, or?
Well,
I'm trying to follow what you're.
Kind of like I want Windows Explorer inside of the reports menu. Because I'm able to, now create. I'm able to create reports subfolders 3 levels deep and all, which is great. But then, how do you see them? How do you find what you just created? There's no map.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. That is a good question. All right, that sounds like a great idea for the idea exchange, because outside of going to like all folders, it's a basic list view in search. So
okay, so that's what Randy said too. Randy said, go to the idea exchange, and thank you, Randy. And so that's fine. My second question, which you may be able to answer, is email. So I know that a couple versions back, they made, am I going to call it enhanced email? They changed email on us, didn't they? Or they allowed us to do, enhanced email. I have not turned on enhanced email or enabled it. And I'm wondering, do I have to? And what are the pros and cons of turning on enhanced email?
Let me bring it up here. Somebody want to? There's Randy's answer. No, you do not have to turn it on. Yeah, I haven't played around with it too much. I think I turned it on. I'm trying to check one of my dev works.
This is Marty. Enhanced email also gets you formatting in the email, fonts, styles, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, and the other thing too, Stuart, that it gets you, if you go in the setup right, is like now it's like a full featured object. Like you have that in Service Cloud, but now it's in email across Salesforce. It makes it a standard Salesforce object. So you have all of the things that come with that, right? Of collaboration around that, all the details, related lists. So, and then as Marty said, the formatting piece is a big part of it. And and then you can see, as Randy's saying there in the chat, the con of it though now is that it doesn't show up as a task. It does show an activity history, but so that is a big part of it. I haven't played around. Like I said, I haven't played around with it yet.
Okay. Well, I might leave it off then in production until I figure out a compelling reason why to turn it on. Maybe I'll play around with it in the sandbox and see what it does.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Is turn it on in the sandbox.
Okay. And as always, I'll just open up this that anyone, if anyone ever wants to chime in or let me know on Twitter or anything, I'm always in search of interesting Lightning components on the App Exchange. Now that I've played around with Lightning and I really like it, I am curious to see what people are doing for their add-on components that they have tested and like. I've found a couple of them. One is a thing called Cloud Rebels. Has a little alert tool. Let's see, I've got it right here in front of me. Let me get the real name of it, since I'm talking about it. Yeah, Cloud Rebels with a Z, alert message. And when you add it to an account page, it will allow you to pop up and it's an alert message. It pops it up like in a red banner across the screen, any field on the page. So we have a warning comments field on our account pages for literally warning comments about that account. When you don't call this account on this number or something like that, and that little component will pop it up in red when you open up that account, so that anyone that sees that page will know right away, oh, don't call them on their cell phone number, whatever. Really helpful and really cool. One of the things that I found when testing Lightning that I really like. So as people find those things, I am curious to test them out. Just a plug.
I like it. Alert message. It's pretty cool. All right, who else? Yeah, I try to keep tabs on the App Exchange email that comes out on any new free apps or components. There's certainly a lot of cool components out there. I do a lot of stuff with communities, and there's a lot of cool components out there that you can drop into your community, like ideas or you name it. So there's a lot out there. All right. Who else?
I've got a question for the group.
Yeah.
Hi everyone. Randy Thompson. I'm in West St. Paul, like Stu. So I'm a consultant as well, and earlier this year I implemented Salesforce's Live Agent for a client, which was great and fine. But I do know that there's a lot of other apps out there for the same thing, that chat widget. And I'm just curious if anyone has ever done both, like both the live agent, the standard live agent, and used one or more of the other, third-party apps, and if there's any thoughts about, pros or cons either way.
So third-party apps around chat?
Yeah.
Yeah, not for me personally. I've usually just used Live Agent in some of the snap-ins that are provided there.
I don't have a third-party app for that, but we're trying to implement right now, and we're trying to get people away from using the notes feature as they have in their legacy system to talk to each other. So I'm trying to push Chatter, but what they're missing after we get rid of their CTI component and adding a new one is the IM capability across the office, which I think, Randy, that sounds like what you're trying to replace, right? That little fun chat box that was down at the bottom that they killed this spring.
No, the website Live Agent Chat is what I'm referring to.
Oh, yeah. That I do not know.
Yeah, the service, like, when you go to a website and they have that little talk to a service agent over chats, that kind of thing.
Yeah, not there yet. I will soon, though.
It's a pretty nifty piece of technology, but it does require some fairly heavy CSS work to make it look pretty, which luckily the client I did it for had a web developer on site, and he was more than happy to help. But it is not like a declarative admin piece of functionality, really, even though they say it is. I mean, yeah, a declarative admin can set it all up and configure it, but they can't make it pretty without some heavy CSS work. So I was just curious if anybody had used any other type of third-party app for that service, and if so, what their experience was.
We did set up Live Agent here at one point in time. This would have been 2 years ago, and our web development team uses WordPress for their site development.
Yep.
And they, of course, they're experts and they know all about web development. I do not, but they did not seem to have much struggle in inserting the Live Agent code into their WordPress forms. So I don't know if that's a pro on using WordPress, or if that's just the fact that they're really smart web developers.
Oh, yeah. And the web developer I was using was also, I mean, he would do, 2 minutes later it would come out and be beautiful. But I guess where I was going with that, and I apologize for not being clearer, was that it still requires a dev of some kind, right? A web dev, which I am not. And so I was just curious if if anybody had used anything aside from Live Agent for that type of web chat service, if they had any feedback on the declarative nature versus the developer nature of it. Does that make sense? Am I being clear at all?
Yeah, I think that's an okay question or statement, even that there are certain things like that definitely require some help from the coding world or from the platform world, past just declarative knowledge.
Cool. Well, thanks everyone. That was my question.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Who else?
Hey, I got one, guys. This was a fun challenge, and I opened up a case with Salesforce support, and they didn't give me a result. They gave me a workaround, which they gave to me at the same time I discovered my own workaround. We just onboarded 256, is that right, Ashley? 256 users. Most of them chatter free, but we wanted to give everybody an opportunity to do a Trailhead.
John, we
challenge, which, by the way, since the 1st of June, the entire company.
John, you're cutting out there.
Am I? Is it any better now?
Now
My
you're
internet's
back.
horrible. Okay, sorry. Anyway, the issue we had with probably 30 to 40% of them is they would be sent a verification code when they tried to log into Trailhead for the first time, but they were never given the prompt to enter their verification code. Has anybody seen that happen before?
I've not seen it, but I've heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just out of curiosity, are you using My Trailhead? Is that why you're trying to get them to use their Chatter username instead of signing up for a dev.org on their personal account? Like with a personal email?
Yes, the Trailhead Tracker app. We put that in there so I can run reports. There's big prizes. Everybody's competing for big prizes in the company to get the most Trailhead badges. And
Got it.
that's why I'm trying to use their TBS email address. So the only answer that I thought of on my own while I'm waiting for support to figure this out was I just whitelisted our public IP address, which I probably should have done in the first place. And now they're not being sent the verification code, but it doesn't stop it if they perhaps log in from home or somewhere else.
What about
Yeah.
what about Lightning Login?
Lightning login.
Yeah. So that I wish Bill Powell was on because he's implemented it all over the board and I haven't yet, but he loves it like crazy. But apparently Lightning Login just gets you around that whole verification code process.
Yeah, it does, and it's so nice. Like, you have an app on your phone, and anytime you log in, it'll just send you a notification. And even what's actually really cool is it even has an iWatch app, or an Apple Watch app, and it will send you a notification. So, like, one of my orgs, I have it turned on, and it sends me a notification, and just on my watch, I just tap approve, and I get logged in.
Fascinating. I'm looking at this right now. This is interesting. Thank you. We're gonna dig into that. We're gonna get the last 30 users to finally log in. This is great news. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. All right. And Stuart, by the way, I was playing around with enhanced email a little bit more in my dev org, and it's just a lot in Lightning, I should say, a lot more. It's a lot smoother. I feel like, just from the sheer fact that from an activity component on my page, I can just jump into a new email on a contact, and it has all the rich text editing there. I can, insert a template, or what I think is really cool is I can save that email that I'm typing up as a new template, which is pretty awesome. I can insert merge fields right from there, as opposed to necessarily having to have a template that has those merge fields. So pretty cool. And then you can like pop it out to a doc view on within Lightning.
Oh. Okay, I like that. I do like what they've been doing with enhancing emails in general, that you can now set up email templates as its own tab in Lightning rather than having to send users to the setup menu to make email templates. That's kind of nice.
I concur.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a question. Stu, when you're done, I have a question. Are you done, Stu?
I'd go ahead. I'd
Okay.
talk over me if you have to.
No, I don't. Okay, so, and maybe this is just me being dumb, but during the release webinars 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, however long ago that was now, they were showing some of the enhancements to Flow, like the debugger and whatnot, but their Flow canvas looked super sexy. And I was like, is that a new special Flow canvas? And if so, like, how do I get access to it? Because it doesn't look like the Flow canvas I'm using. Does anyone know? Is it a pilot? Is it beta? Like, anyone know?
Yeah, I think it's. Let me see.
Arnab would know. Arnab Bose would know, who is the VP of Lightning Flow. I would probably guess that it is. I know they're working on a new Lightning Flow. I shouldn't say I know, because I don't know anything, because I don't work for Salesforce. But in seeing demos and listening to discussions, it is my opinion that there is something going on with Lightning Flow, that there are changes being made. So did they show you something that is different than what you have available? Probably they have something going on.
Yeah. I have heard of. I was just looking at a couple articles here. So I have heard of. Lightning Flow. So there's Lightning Flow, which is basically flows embedded within Lightning components, or I guess vice versa. But so there's that, and then there's just the general updates to Flow as a whole, like the Flow canvas and everything like that. And I think if anything, it's in beta right now. But I'll send you or I'll put this in the chat as well, for Lightning Flow, and then there's, I think, some articles linked to that. But yeah, I've heard about it coming. I just haven't seen it enough or heard like when it's going to be generally available. But it's definitely a lot better than the current Flow.
All right, cool. Thanks, everyone.
I'm trying to see if I could find anything out there for it, but I don't.
So if you don't follow Arnab on Twitter, I put his Twitter handle on there, and he's I met him when he was in Minneapolis earlier this year, and he's very approachable. He's open to questions and a nice guy, and he is kind of in charge of the whole what's going on with Flow and the future of Flow. and he'll tell you what he can tell you, and he won't tell you what he can't.
Right. I have just followed him. Thank you, Sue.
Awesome. All right. Who else? Oh. Go ahead, Marty.
Thank you, since no one else has a question. So I'm working with a customer where someone else did the import from their original system. And so I'm trying to kind of figure out what they really did. And I'm building a report from the account object. And I'm looking, as you speak, at the new Lightning report builder. And in account, there's two fields, ownership and rating, that seem to be in the account record with the pick list. But when I'm on the Lightning report page, those fields do not appear, interestingly enough. Anybody else run into this?
I found it a little odd in how to find fields in Lightning Report Builder.
So I'm in the search,
Yeah.
and then I'm looking at and account. There aren't that many fields, so I'm like looking at everything, and I still don't see them.
Oh, so question.
Yes,
So are you looking at an account record, or are you in setup? Looking at those two.
I'm in the actual account report builder, and then I went to the schema builder, and those fields do appear in the schema of account.
So does your profile have access to those two fields?
I'm in here as system administrator, but good point. I will double check that because I've had that situation before.
I know.
They mysteriously disappear.
I know. I'm like, I'm
Very
sysadmin.
good, yeah.
I should have access to everything. And then sometimes for those courses, it's like,
So yeah, I'll bet you're right. Thank you very much. I'm gonna double check that right now.
now I want to know.
Okay, someone else can go. Give me a minute. I'll let you know.
All right. Who else?
So this is Marty. You're right. Those fields are not available to even to the system administrator for some. I won't even go into other things. The people that did this did. Thank you. Perfect answer.
All right. Anybody else have questions? All right, going once. Going twice. All right, sold. We'll go ahead and end today's call. If nobody else has any questions, appreciate you guys' participation and look for not only the recording of this call, but the next registration for the 29th. So in just a couple weeks, look forward to talking to you then. In the meantime, have a great weekend, and again, appreciate everyone's time.
Thank you.